In today's video, I'm going to show you step by step how to create a sales funnel from scratch. So this is how it's going to look like. We're going to have our landing page. It's going to go to the checkout page, upsell, and then thank you page. Now, let me show you what the page looks like. So if I come over here, this is going to be our landing page. So I'm going to scroll down here so you can see the rest of the content. So you can see here, this is a very clean design and it has everything that we need for this to convert really well. So once the customer comes here and clicks on Start Now, it takes them to the checkout page. So they'll scroll down, fill in their details, and as soon as they place the order, they get taken to this upsell. So this is what the upsell looks like. If you want, you can add a video in here. So whether they decline or not, it's going to go ahead, and then the final page here is going to be the thank you page, and the order is going to be shown on this page. So all the tools that I'm going to be using are all going to be in the video description below. So without wasting a lot of time, let's dive in and let's get started. Your funnel website needs to have a solid hosting plan. So I highly recommend SiteGround, and if you use my link in the video description below, you are going to get a 75% off. I'm also adding a bonus to this, and that is my lifetime membership. So this lifetime membership is for creatives who want to create websites that generate income or leads. So it's full packed of courses, and once you join this lifetime membership, you will get access to all current courses and future courses. Now, this lifetime membership costs $599, so you get it absolutely free if you purchase your hosting using my link. Let's go ahead and set up our hosting account. So we're going to start by scrolling down here, and we want to build a site. So I'm going to click here on Learn More. And this now is going to give us all our plans. So the plan that we need is this Grow Big here, because this gives us 20 gig of web space and unlimited websites. So I'm going to click here on Get Plan. This is where you need to add your domain name. So if your website is brand new, you can start searching for your domain name here. If it's available, it will show you, but if not, it will not. So let me just add mac.co.uk because I know that this domain name does not exist. So if I were to click Proceed, you can see here the domain name is not available. But in my case here, I have a domain name, so I would come over here to have a domain name. So in your case, you could have bought a domain name somewhere else. So this is where you want to add your domain name. So I'm going to click now on Proceed. Okay, so this is where now you have to fill in this review and complete it. So you need to start off here with your email address and password, and then confirm the password. Next, you need to enter your client information, and this is your country. So if you click here on this drop down, you can just choose where you are. If you're in the United States, you can just select there. And then further down here, this is where you would add your payment details. Now, once you fill this in, the final step here is to double check and see if you've got your deal, and here it is, and the discount has already been applied. And then finally, you will get your total, and then just confirm this, and then confirm this as well, and then click on Pay Now. So to get your website activated, you need to verify this via email, and then once it's verified, we can now log in, and let me show you what the admin panel looks like. So I'm going to come over here to login, enter my email address, click on Next, and then I'm going to enter my password. Okay, so this is what our dashboard looks like. So all we need to do now is to come over here to Websites. So next we need to come over here to New Website. Right, so for this example, I'm going to click on Temporary Domain, and then I can link it up later if I need to. But if yours is a new domain, you can just come over here and then go through the whole process. So I'm going to click here on Select. And this is my temporary URL. I'm going to click on Continue, start a new site. And my site is going to be a WordPress website. So here is where I need to enter my email address and password. So once we've done that, click on Continue. And then I'm going to click on Finish. So what is happening now is our site is being created behind the scenes, and we're going to have a brand new WordPress website without anything installed on it. So once everything gets installed, this is the website. I'm going to come over here now and log into the admin dashboard. So to log into our admin dashboard, you need to enter WP-admin, hit enter, and then you want to enter our username or email address and password. Okay, so now that we're in our admin dashboard, there's a few things that we need to do, and that is to set up our page builder. So there are several page builders out there, Elementor, Breezy, Beaver Builder, and so on. But the one I highly recommend is Divi. So the reason why I like Divi is because for $89 per year, you can build unlimited website. And this is the best price out of all the page builders out there. All right, so I already have an account. I'm going to go in and log in. So I'm going to click here on Member Login. and download Divi. Next, I'm going to come over here to my account and copy the API key. Now, this API key is important because this is how we get updates from Elegant Themes. So I'm going to click here on API keys. So I'm going to come over here to my API key and then click here to copy. Next, I'm going to come over back to my website and then go to Appearance, click on Themes, Add New, Upload Theme, and then I'm just going to drag and drop it here. Or you can click on Choose File and then navigate where it is on your computer. Now I'm going to click on Install Now. Next, I'm going to click on Activate. It's time now to add our API key. So I'm going to scroll down here to Divi and then click on Theme Options. I'm going to come over here to Updates, add my API key and username. Click on Save Changes. Next, we're going to upload the images that we need for our website. So for this funnel, I'm going to create a funnel for, let's say, a fitness product where we're going to sell the main product and then an upsell and then a membership at the end of it. So I went to unsplash.com to download my images. So let me show you. So I've just searched for whey protein and then I just downloaded all the images that I need for my design. And these are the images right here. So now I'm going to go onto my site and upload those images by coming over here to Media and then clicking on Library. Click on Add New, select Files. Now all my images are in the Downloads folder, so I'm going to come over here to my Downloads and then upload my images. All right, so the next step now is very important because this is where we get to install the funnel building software. So the one I'm going to be using here for this example is WPFunnels. So here is their website. Again, I have a link to this in the video description below. All right, so if you purchase this, you'll also get access to my training, which will teach you how to use this software. Okay, so I already have an account, so I'm going to go ahead and download the plugins. So over here, I'm going to click on Login, go to my downloads. And these are the ones that we need. So all I need here is the WPFunnels Basic and the Pro. Now let's go ahead and install them. So I'm going to come back over here to my site and then go to my plugins and then click on Add New. Click Upload Plugin. I'm going to start with the first one. So you can either go here and click on Choose File and then find it manually, or you can just drag and drop it here like that. Now I prefer doing this because it's much easier. Okay, great. So we're going to activate our plugin. All right, so right away, it wants me to go in and start setting it all up. Now we might as well go in and do that and then install the Pro version. So I'm going to click here on to uncheck cut lift and then click on Next. So this sales funnel system is going to be using WooCommerce. So you can see here, WooCommerce is being installed behind the scenes. Now, this is very important because our payment gateway and all the necessary payments that we're going to need are going to be going through WooCommerce. All right, so now it's time to choose our page builder. So I'm going to click on this drop down and choose Divi and then go on to click on Next. Now here on the permalinks, I'm just going to leave this as it is. Click on Next, and then I'm going to click on Start Creating Funnels Now. All right, so now we're on our dashboard, but we need the Pro version because this is how we're going to add our upsells and downsells, and it also comes up with a lot of features that we're going to need for this tutorial. All right, so let's go ahead and add our Pro version. So again, I'm going to go back to the plugins, click on Add New, Upload Plugin, and then I'm going to drag and drop it like I did before. Click on Install Now, and then Activate. So I need to enter my license key. So I'm going to go back to my control panel here. So I'm going to click here on my orders and then click on Manage License. And then I'm going to copy my license key. And then back over here, I'm going to go in and paste it and then activate license. So it looks like everything was updated correctly. And you can see here on the top, the message says license key successfully activated. So the next step now is to go into WooCommerce and set up all our products. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to come over here to WooCommerce and then click on products. So at the moment, we don't have any products. So I'm going to start by clicking on create product. So here's our main product. But in your case, you need to give this a proper name. So we're not going to worry about the description here because we're going to be adding it on the landing page. Next, let's add our price. So let's say this is going for $69. Next, we're going to come over here to our product image, Go to our library. Now remember, we uploaded this before, so let's go ahead and choose our image. So I'm going to go ahead and select our image here, set product image. And then finally, we're going to hit publish. Let's add one more product. So I'm going to come back over here or on the top here and click on add new. So this is our upsell product, but of course you can give this your name. I'm going to scroll down here and let's say this is $29. Come to our product and let's say this is our product. I'm going to set my product image and then click on publish. All right. So if you want to view all your products, you can just click here on all products. And these are 2 products. Okay, so the next step now is to go in and start creating our funnel. Now, this is where it gets very exciting. So to create our funnel, you want to come over here to WPFunnels and then click on funnels. So since this is our first funnel, we're going to create our funnel. And here we have all these templates that we can use to start our design process. So it doesn't really matter which one you go with because these are highly customizable. You can always go in and play around with the designs here. So I'm going to go with this weight loss one, and then I'm going to go ahead and click on import. So straight away, we are taken into this canvas mode, which I really, really love. So the first thing we're going to do is to start to design our landing page. So I'm going to click here and we need to now click on this pencil icon. Okay, so now we just have to dismiss this because this is the first time this is loading our builder. And then I'm going to click on edit with the Divi theme builder. Okay, so let's go in and add all our information. So I'm going to start off by coming over here to my section settings. I'm going to snap this over to the left. So the first thing I want to do is to get rid of this white space here on the top. So I'm going to click on design, spacing, and let's give this a margin of -80. Okay, so that's a good start. Next, we're going to go to the background because we don't really want this background that we have here. So we're going to click here on background and then click on this third tab and get rid of this image. Now let's add our own image. So I'm going to click on this plus button. We're going to scroll down and this is the image that we're going to use. And then I'm going to click upload image. There we go. So our image here is in place. All right. So next I'm going to come over here to background and we're going to give this a gradient. So I'm going to come over here on the second tab, click on the plus button, and we're going to make this dark to transparent. So my next color here is going to be transparent like that. And then I'm going to place my gradient above the image like that. Now you can see here that the dark part is at the top. Ideally, we want it on the left because that's where our text is going to go. So I'm going to give this 90 degrees and that's looking much better. All right, so let's go ahead now and save. Next, we're going to come over here now to our description. In fact, let's first of all delete the logo that we have here on the top. So I'm going to delete that like that. And then now all we need to do is to customize our text. So let's go in by clicking here on this gear icon. So our text here is heading 1. So let's go to design, heading text, and then let's make sure we are on heading 1. And then we're going to click here on default, change this to our own font. So I like using Poppins. It really stands out. All right. So over here on the colors, I'm going to go with white so we can read this on this dark background. So let's add our own description. So let's go back over here to our content, text, and we're just going to get rid of this and paste our own stuff in here. In fact, that's a bit too much. Okay, there we go. So I'm pretty happy with that. I'm going to come back over here to design. And if you need to adjust the size of this text, you can just come over here and just lower it like that. So I think 5VW works better. All right, so I'm going to save that. And then we're going to come over here again to this text, go into our section settings. We're going to paste our dummy text like that. Now let's go to the design tab and then we're going to go into our text. So we're going to change this from Poppins. In fact, you know what? Let me show you a quick tip that we can do here to just quickly work on our site. So I'm going to right click here and then click on find and replace. So what we're going to do now, we're going to find the default font within this section. In fact, you know what? Let's go to all text settings. Okay. And then we're going to replace this with Poppins. So this is going to save us a lot of time while we're designing. Now I'm going to click on replace all and then click on replace. Okay, great. So now I'm going to come over here to my color and choose a color that's easier to read and then save. So I'm just going to add some spacing here at the top just to make sure that my text here is centered. So we're going to go with Let's go with 162 and save. All right, great. So you can see here my main hero image here is looking great. So we're going to scroll down, and we also have more information that we can add here. So I'm going to go ahead and delete some of this information here. So let's start with this one here. I don't need that. So I'm going to delete that, and I'm also going to delete that. So I think I'll leave this testimonial there. Delete that. Okay. So I've simplified my landing page, but now I need to change my colors. So I'm going to come back over here, go to my background, and the color I'm going to use is a solid black. Okay, so let's go ahead and save that. And then over here, we're going to change our colors. So I'm going to come over here to design. Now, if you want to speed up your design process, just click here on this little paintbrush icon and then just change your colors like that. So now let's add our text in there. So I'm going to come back over here on my content, click on text, and we're just going to replace this with our own text, but that's a bit too much. So we're going to use that as a title. And then over here on the design, on the heading text, this is a bit too big. So let's reduce this to about 5 VW. Okay, great. Now we just want to make sure everything looks great on a mobile device as well. So I'm just going to scroll down, and I can see here it's not too bad. And over here as well. Okay, that's looking great. Okay, fantastic. So now that we have our text, let's also go in and fix this content over here. So I'm going to start off by saving. Oh, in fact, you know what? Let's change this image. I'm going to go in, delete that, add our own image. So let's add this one here and save. Now, you know how to go in and customize this text. So just go in and change this text to whatever suits your design. And then once you're done with that, you can now go ahead and save. So I'm going to go ahead and save this page. Now, if you wanted to change this button, you can always go in here like that. Click on design. And then we can start with our button text color. So let's go ahead and give this a black. And for the background, we're going to give this, okay, let's go with that. I think that works great. And then over here on the font, we want to make everything very consistent here. So let's add Poppins as our main color. And we're also going to make it bold so it's easier to see. And we're also going to scroll down here, and the padding seems okay. So let's go in and adjust our border radius. So I prefer to have, let's say 5. And my button now looks much better. All right, so let's go ahead and save. Now this button here is automatically linked to the next step, so you don't need to go in and make any changes to it. So let's save the page and exit. All right, so back over here on our funnel steps, let me just hit save. All right, so now we need to go to our checkout page. So here we need to add our product. So let's click on this gear icon. So our first product, if you remember, we called it main product. So here it is. Click on add product. So there's our main product there. There's the price. Everything looks great. Now, if you want to add any coupon codes on the checkout page, you can just click on allow coupon. But if you don't need, you can just leave it like that. Ideal when you're running promotions. Next, we're going to come over here on edit fields. So since this is a physical product, you can actually pretty much go through all of this and disable or enable all the fields that you need. So for example, let's say you don't need the phone number. You can just go in and remove it like that. And if there's any additional information, you can just add it on there. But if I scroll back up here, there's also a section where you can go in and add additional information. But I'm going to disable that like that. And then over here on the shipping fields, we can also go in and remove any fields that we don't need. Like for example, the company name. All right. So now that I have this all set, I'm pretty much good to go. I'm going to click on save additional changes. Now, we also have the ability to add an order bump. So this is where you can enable it like that and then add it on this page right here. But for this example, we're not going to use an order bump. We want to use an upsell. All right, so let's disable that and save changes. Okay, great. So right now, after our checkout page, we are going to go straight to our thank you page. In fact, you know what? Let's take a look at our checkout page right now. I'm going to click on this eye icon so I can see it. So this is what it looks like. And again, we can go in and customize it. So you can see our product here has already been added onto our cart. And we can place our order. Now, right now, PayPal and Stripe is not showing because I haven't set it up yet. So we can actually go in and customize this as well. So let's go in and do that by enabling our builder. So like we did before, we're going to go into our section settings, going to design, spacing, and we are going to set a margin of -80 to get rid of that white space. And then back over here on the content, we're going to go to the background and we're going to get rid of this image here and then add our background image. So just to keep things simple, I'm just going to add my image here like that, upload image. And this time we're just going to add a bit of styling to this. So I'm going to come over here to my background, add white as my background, and then back over here on the image, we're going to scroll down and then choose lighten. So you can see here the whole image has been covered, but that's not what we want. We need to show a little bit of the image. So to adjust that, we need to come back again onto our background here, click anywhere in here, and then just click on the slider here to show a little bit of the image in the background like that. Okay, just ever so slightly. Great. So now I can save. So this text here ideally needs to be in the middle. So let's go into our columns here. So we're just going to remove these double columns and just have one like that. And then we're just going to go in now and replace all this text with the text that we want. So I'm going to start off here with the paragraph text. So I'm going to go in, design, text, and I'm just going to do what I did before, right click, find and replace. So this default text with pop-ins. So we're going to do this to all modules. And then we're going to replace everything. All right, so the next step now is to go to second section here and give it a background color. So since we've been using black, we might as well just go ahead and add black as our background color here. And you can see now everything really stands out. Now, if you want to go in and get rid of some of this information, you can just hover over it and delete. Like, for example, let's say I need to get rid of this. I can just do that and then it's gone. And I can just continue to delete what I don't need. If I need to edit, I can just go in and edit it by clicking here on this gear icon like that. And then I can just edit my text and it will be uploaded or updated over here. All right, so everything looks great. So all I need to do now is to just give this a title. So we can call this a checkout page. And then over here, we can give this our own text. I'm just going to highlight and paste. So this becomes our description text for our checkout page and then save. All right, so far our checkout page is almost complete. I think all I need to do now is to just go in and remove these rounded corners. They're quite excessive. So I'm going to click here on this gear icon, go into design, border, and I'm going to bring them down to about 10. Okay, so that's much better. I'm going to go ahead now and save one more time. All right, so if you wanted to add another step, how you do it is by clicking over here. So this time we need to add an upsell. So I'm going to click here on upsell. And for this, what should we do? Should we build from scratch or should we use an existing template? Anyway, let's use an existing template. I'm going to click here on import. So here is our upsell. So when it comes in, it's not connected to anything. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to click here and then drag this to the upsell like that. So after the upsell, we then need to go to our thank you page, just like that. All right, so this is looking great. Let's go ahead now and customize our upsell. So I'm going to click here on this gear icon to add our product. So I'm going to search here and this is our upsell product. Remember, we created these already. So now I'm going to select it, add product. Okay, so here's where it gets exciting. So we can choose our discount type here. So we're going to go in with percentage. So percentage of regular price. So our discount here is going to be 20%. So you can see here the 20% discount has been applied. And then I can just click on Save Changes. Now I need to go and enable this option here. Now let's go ahead and fix this. So I'm just going to save this. So we're going to hover over WPFunnels, go to Settings. I'm going to leave that. All right, so we're going to come over here to Offer Settings. And this is the option that we need to activate. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Click on Save. Now let's go back to our funnels. So I'm going to click on it. So let's continue to design this. So I'm going to come back over here on my upsell, click on the gear icon, and now we don't have that error. So if we wanted to, we can also replace the original image product, but we're not going to do that. So I'm going to leave it as it is. Okay, great. So our product now has been added. Let's go ahead and check out this design. So I'm going to click on View Step. So like we did before, I'm going to enable the Visual Builder, go into our settings here, design, and then we're going to come over here to spacing, add -80 to get rid of the white space at the top. So we're going to save this. So over here we have a video. Now it's up to you if you want to have a video, but videos work really well on these upsells. So now we can go in and add all our copy. So as you can see, all our links here are added here for us already. So if they want to add the product, if they click here, it'll be added to the cart. But if they click no thanks, it'll still go to the cart without adding the product. Okay, so this is where now you want to go in and add your text. So I'm going to click here, go to my design, heading text. So as we did before, I'm going to right click and find and replace. So we're going to replace all our fonts here with Poppins. Okay, and then I'm going to hit replace. Okay, great. So this message here, you can also go in and customize this if you wanted to, but I'm just going to go back to my background quickly here and add my color. So first of all, I'm going to delete this image. And then I'm going to come to my background color here and add black. Right, so I prefer black. It works really well with my design here. Now I can see here I have something going on in the background here as well. I want to get rid of that by coming over here to my row settings, going into design. And then over here on the image, that's the image that's showing here. I'm going to delete that. And I just want everything all plain and save. So if you wanted to add your own video, you just come over here. First of all, you want to come to overlay and then add your overlay image. So first of all, delete that one and then add your own. So what really works great here is to add your own image, which looks great. So we're going to add this one here. If that's our upsell, I'm going to click here on my image. Next, I'm going to come over here to design. And then I'm just going to change my icon size. It's a bit too big. So I'm going to scroll down here and reduce that to about, say, 56, and then save. So pretty much we are almost done. I'm going to save all this. Okay, so now that our design is complete, let's go ahead now and work on the thank you page. So to customize our thank you page, you can just click here on this eye icon. And again, like we did before, we're just going to remove the white space and delete all the elements that we don't need. So here I've chosen to go with a simple design, which does not have a lot going on, because this is just a confirmation. And I can see here I have thank you twice. So I'm going to get rid of that and then click on save. All right, so all our pages now are complete. Let's go ahead now and exit the Visual Builder. And right now, no orders are showing because I haven't gone through the checkout process. All right, so now that we have all this set, all our settings here are all in place. So what's going to happen now is, let's say you want to take a look at how your funnel is working here. You can just click here on stats, and then you can see your opt-ins. You can also see how many people have bought and so on, which is fantastic. But if you want to see further stats, you can just click on these three little dots here, click on analytics, and this will show you a snapshot of what is going on your site. So you can also drill here by choosing your date range, by clicking here on this drop down, and you can also compare the previous period and the previous year and so on. All right, so we're almost done. Now, this step is very, very important because we want to make sure that our landing page here becomes the actual product page. So what you need to do is to name these pages. Now, what I normally do is I just name the main one, which is the landing page. So I'm going to click on these three little dots. So mine, I've just called it Mac product. So make sure you type it here and you just add it in. And on the slug as well, you need to paste it in like that and then click on update. So once you have this all set, the next step now is to come all the way down here to settings and then click on reading. You want to change your site from your blog post to static. And then on this drop down, you should be able to see the page that we just named Mac product. So if you select that and hit save changes, now when we go into our site, like for example, if I click here, this now is going to take us to the main funnel page. So now we are on our main landing page, as you can see. And if I click here on Start Now, this now is going to take us to the checkout page. And on this checkout page, if our customer goes ahead and purchases, they get to see the upsell page. And if they purchase that or they skip that, then they're going to see this last page, which is the thank you page. All right, guys, that's all I have for you for this video. Thank you very much for watching. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments box below and I'll do my best to respond to them. Until next time, thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Want to save time designing websites? Download my free SiteMaker Divi template. It has a header, footer, a 404 page, and also buttons, text, headings, all pre-designed for you, giving you a professional working website right from the get-go. It is very easy to customize. It's 100% free. Link to that in the video description below. And if you haven't bought Divi yet, get 10% off when you use my link in the video description below.